Alright, so this champion, Annihilus, I think is so underrated. But not only that, in like 2 weeks from now, he's gonna be one of the most highly used champions in the game. And why is that? Well, basically, one Battlegrounds meta has this like node where whenever you dex, you inflict a ton on yourself and the opponent. So if Annihilus is defending or even attacking, he's gonna get supercharged. He'll go unblockable and unstoppable, and he'll be a massive pain to deal with on defense. So that's why I think he's like one of the best defenders, at least like in the future, and why he's honestly one of the best rank ups right now too. But not only that, I think this man is just like straight up a good champion. I think his utility is super underrated, but his damage output is just so crazy good sometimes. But there's rank 5 Annihilus. We gotta use some generic ISO here, so yeah, don't mind that. It's gonna be very unideal, and I know that people do not like when this is like occurring, right? But you know, I'm kind of ISO. No, I'm not ISO broke. It's just like cosmic ISO, which I'm struggling with. Yeah, but generic ISO comes in clutch. The gold cost is of course insane for generic ISO, but it's fine because it's for a good cause. Annihilus is going to be so good for Battlegrounds this coming season, and I think even like future seasons, he might be really good for them too, because he's just a pretty good all-around character. His utility is very strong, his immunities are still pretty like meta to this day, and yeah, here is some like quick gameplay of Annihilus in like those Battlegrounds health pools. So there are a ton of Annihilus rotations actually, and it's pretty cool because he kind of works for every health pool because he has like a rotation for all of them pretty much. So yeah, I think he's good in that regard too, but some of them are kind of like hard to pull off, and he is a bit RNG reliant too. Like this character isn't perfect of course, but when he does work, he works really well. So here is a 7 Fury SP2, a nice 35,000 crit there. We go back in, 22,000 mediums, 14,000 light attacks, and that was a 30-second fight right there. So honestly, some pretty silly stuff. But now we have this fight right here, and I could have just like shown a better version of this fight, but I chose this one because Annihilus just makes something out of nothing in this matchup. The RNG on that first combo was terrible, and like the build up to my first SP1, because check this out, we're gonna go in, we're gonna drop the SP1, and here we only have 3 stifles, which is really unideal. You want like 6 for the SP1, right? But look at what he does afterwards. He just makes it work somehow. I drop a combo, I have 5 stifles now, then I have I think 8 or 9, which is really nice. We get a nice 44,000 crit, which is just incredible, 31,000 mediums, and now Annihilus is like actually doing some crazy good stuff from a terrible start as well. So yeah, this could have been much better, but he's still doing really good here. 29,000 mediums, 31,000 there, and that was like a 54-second fight. So yeah, Annihilus, when he gets going, is just so strong, and his damage output is honestly comparable to like some top tier cosmic characters. So yeah, it's some pretty nice stuff, man. Of course he isn't like a top tier cosmic, at least in my opinion, because of his RNG reliance, and I mean, I guess it's really just that, and I guess like how stressful he is sometimes. But then again, if you like can manage him really well, he just does some incredible things. So yeah, here I can just drop the SP2 after my SP1 is, you know, done pausing. There we get a nice 40,000 crit, another 40,000 crit there as well, and yeah, this matchup is pretty much over. 34,000 mediums, 35,000 right there, drop the relic, and that just does it. That is just some incredible stuff right there. Now we have this Killmonger, and this Killmonger is a pretty cool fight, but I don't want to focus on like the damage here. I want to focus on his control of Killmonger's armor up, because Annihilus has honestly some of the best armor break application in the game. it's just so potent and it's so frequent. Well, actually, okay, it's not potent, right? Like, it's pretty small armor breaks, but like with how often they activate, it is just so reliable to keep them up for the rest of the fight. So pretty much any armor up champion just can't do anything against Annihilus. So champions like Red Skull, for example, can't do anything against Annihilus. So yeah, I think his armor break is just honestly one of the best in the game because of how frequent it is. Like, of course it's not that potent, right? But he still does good damage without having potent armor breaks because of those fury buffs. But yeah, here he drops the SP2, no big deal, and this matchup is just going so well now because he just cannot get reverb. There is no worries there in the slightest. There I drop the heavy attack for the taunt, I go back in, and yeah, the armor break is just still there because it's always there, right? Then I drop the SP2, a nice 23,000 crit there, but the damage output in this matchup isn't like the real thing to showcase here, right? But that was a 14,000 medium, and yeah, this matchup is now over. So that was like a minute and 23 seconds, but the important thing was the control in that fight was just insane. But now we have this Black Bolt here. It has Incinerate and Cold Snap debuffs applied to us all the time, but Annihilus is Incinerate and Cold Snap immune, so that's pretty cool. His immunities are kind of like, they're kind of decent. I think Incinerate's a good one still. Cold Snap is just kind of whatever, but to be fair, Iceman is pretty annoying now these days, so countering Iceman is honestly pretty good because like Annihilus can just armor break him too, so that ice armor does pretty much nothing. And yeah, so I guess he is pretty good with like those immunities. He's also immune to like a lot of power control stuff, like I think power burn for sure, power drain also, the usual cosmic stuff. But also that fight was just crazy strong. Like, that was so crazy good because his damage output is just silly. But now I want to showcase a synergy real quick. This Darkhawk synergy shows just how like good he is with taunt, because as you can see here, whenever we hit an auto blocking opponent, he gets a taunt passive on himself, and that makes him go unstoppable and unblockable. So yeah, he pretty much just counters auto block perfectly with this synergy, and I wish it was in his base kit, of course, but it's not. So yeah, that kind of stinks, but it's fine. And here you can see that he's playing really passively, so I have to drop the SP1 again, but thankfully with Annihilus, his power gain just is skyrocketed with the SP1, so it doesn't really matter if I have to throw it multiple times. But here I dropped the SP2, some nice damage there, 48,000 crits, 46,000 crit. It's some really nice damage, and now this matchup is pretty much over now because once the SP2 is dropped, he just can't do a single thing, and it's so satisfying because look at that, 37,000 mediums, go back in, drop a combo, drop another combo, and now the Furies fell off, which is kind of annoying, but it's whatever. And yeah, like just one more combo should do it. Here I drop another one, and we get some nice 26,000 crits to end the fight. That was like a minute and 16 seconds, not bad at all. But now we have this really goofy matchup because this is a cosmic lane, and of course Annihilus is just a perfect cosmic character. He has a ton of buffs, he has access to armor breaks too, he has everything that you want for a cosmic champion. So yeah, any cosmic lane he is just really good for, which I think is a pretty fun thing to like, you know, have. And if there's ever like a cosmic meta in Battlegrounds, there is like a 99% chance that he'll be really good for it because he is just the perfect cosmic character when it comes to like tropes. And yeah, look at this damage output, 107,000 crit. Of course it's like really supercharged, so it's not practical, but still kind of hilarious. Here's a fight on the same path. It's just a really fun time to like see him not only just crush auto block, but also be really good with the cosmic nodes. So yeah, I think Annihilus just has a lot of use really because he's a fun champion to play. There are current metas where like he just destroys on defense, and he just, yeah, he's just a really cool character. I think that I don't know. I think that he's just kind of underrated, right? I think a lot of champions are, but he definitely is in like the conversation. And there's some nice 88,000 crits because why not? Some nice 46,000 crits. And yeah, that's just a silly matchup. But now we have some boss action. Here we have this vulture fight, and this is a good showing of just how good his armor break is, plus his immunities, because this has spaced armor and like electric armor too, which means we get power burned, right? But actually no, because we are immune to power burn thanks to the cosmic control rod. And yeah, without that rod, of course, he is like pretty much nothing because he can't get armor breaks, he can't get stifles, and he's immune to nothing, right? But as long as you don't get nullified or like armor broken, you get to keep it. And there was like a pretty small SP2, right? Which is fine. I'm just trying to build up to a big one. But I'm still doing some pretty nice damage here too. Like 14,000 mediums with 2 furies is still very, very nice. But we're just getting started here because look at this damage output now. We're going to drop the relic. We have 3 stifles up. Now we have 5. And yeah, some pretty nice numbers there. He drops the SP2, no big deal. And yeah, the armor up just goes away instantly because of our armor breaks. So yeah, we're just kind of chilling here. Then we drop another SP2, 10 furies up, a nice 48,000 crit again. And this matchup is kind of just over now, isn't it? Nice 17,000 mediums. We go back in, drop another combo, and that just about does it because look at this damage too. Some nice 48,000 crits again. And yeah, Vulture is kind of just done for here. Just like one more combo should do it, plus the relic hit, plus a few more hits. No, a nice 31,000 heavy attack actually, so that was pretty dang fun, and that was a pretty good time as well. And now we have the Sabertooth boss, and here I want to show you what one of his other rotations are, because there is one rotation that is just so safe for Annihilus that it's pretty much his best rotation when like you can afford to use it, because there is one issue with it, and the issue is it's on the SP3, which is, you know, fine for some champions, but in like Battlegrounds that does hurt you for sure. So that's why like I think the SP2 is just the best way to like, you know, go about things. But for longer fights here, he just becomes insanely practical because the SP3, what it does is it inflicts a bunch of stifles, right? But not only that, it also gives your stifles plus 150% duration. So it is a massive deal for Annihilus. So that's why like it's such a good special attack to use, but it's also just kind of impractical at times because you can't always get to the SP3 in like a fast time. But if you can get to it, it is just such a nice special attack because it makes life so much easier for you if you're using Annihilus. But here I dropped the SP1 after his SP1, we get the pause going, and now we have like 11 stifles built up. Now we're at 12. So yeah, they stack up really, really fast with the SP3 because of the increased duration. We go back in, drop a combo, we got the maximum furies, nice 50,000 plus crit there, and this matchup is now over because look at this damage output, 35,000 mediums. Are you kidding me? That's just so dang good. And yeah, no crits, but it's fine because we're just doing so much damage anyway. But there is a nice 24,000 light attack to end the fight. And now for the final matchup, we have this pretty fun Void matchup. Basically, for this Void, you want to have a ton of debuffs up, like for knocking him down, because if you knock him down without a lot of debuffs, he does a lot of damage to you. But Annihilus here, of course, is like the king of debuffs, so you just do a lot of damage to Void, and it's just really, really fun. Besides that, it's just a pretty simple Void matchup. Gotta watch for your combo, and besides that, you're kind of just chilling. But check this out, we're gonna go in, we're gonna drop the SP2 once we have like a decent amount of stifles anyway. So here I dropped the SP2 and it does some pretty nice damage. There is safeguard, but that burst damage is just really, really good. And yeah, this matchup is just a really fun one for Annihilus. Of course, it's unideal because of the safeguard node, but besides the safeguard node, he is just perfect for it in every single aspect. But here we drop a relic into another combo, into the SP2, and it does some pretty nice damage. So yeah, that burst is just so funny to see because it just wipes out like a quarter of his health. It's a really nice time. And yeah, this matchup feels close to over now, but it's not fully over yet. Just gotta, play it patiently here. Here he drops the SP2, no big deal. And now I just drop my own, which is perfect because yeah, he is pretty much almost down. Just a few more combo hits, a few more relic hits maybe should do it. And yeah, that is Annihilus versus this very fun void fight. But that should do it for the showcase as well. A nice ending to that boss and a nice ending to the video as well. But I think Annihilus is just a really cool champion that'll be used a ton in the next Battleground season, and he's just a really underrated character too. So let me know your thoughts on Annihilus, and yeah, that's about it for me.